It's 3 a.m. and you're lying in bed scrolling through TikTok because your brain won't shut off, even though you have to be at your minimum wage job at 8 a.m. tomorrow, where your manager will probably yell at you for something that's not your fault. You've got $47 in your bank account, student loans that make you want to cry, and you just saw another classmate from high school buy a house while you're eating ramen for the fourth night this week. The constant weight of existing in this economy while watching the world literally burn on social media has you feeling like you're drowning, and everyone keeps telling you that these are supposed to be the best years of your life. If you're tired of older generations telling you to just think positive while you're dealing with anxiety, depression, and burnout that feels impossible to escape, this video is for you. I'm Alex, and I've been where you are, struggling with mental health as a Gen Z trying to survive in America while everyone expects you to have it all figured out. Today, I'm sharing real strategies that actually work for our generation, backed by research that understands what we're really going through, plus resources you can access even if you're broke and don't have health insurance. Make sure to subscribe to Gen Now and hit that notification bell because your mental health matters and you deserve support that actually gets what it's like to be young in 2025. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that everyone acknowledges, but no one wants to actually address. Gen Z is the most anxious, depressed, and burned out generation in recorded history, and it's not because we're snowflakes or too sensitive. The American Psychological Association's 2024 Stress in America report shows that 91% of Gen Z adults experienced at least one physical or emotional symptom due to stress in the past month, compared to 74% of all adults. We're dealing with a unique combination of factors that no previous generation has had to navigate simultaneously. We grew up during 9/11, lived through multiple school shooting drills, came of age during a global pandemic, entered the job market during economic instability, and are facing a climate crisis while being told it's our responsibility to fix everything previous generations broke. Dr. Jean Twenge's research shows that rates of depression among 18 to 25-year-olds have increased by 52% since 2005, with anxiety disorders affecting 36% of our generation compared to 26% of millennials. But here's what's really messing with our heads. We're also the most connected generation in history. Yet we report feeling more lonely and isolated than any group before us. Social media gives us constant access to everyone else's highlight reels while we're living our behind-the-scenes struggles, creating a perfect storm of comparison, FOMO, and the feeling that everyone else has life figured out except us. First, let's normalize something that needs to be said. If you're struggling with anxiety and depression as a Gen Z, you're not broken, weak, or doing something wrong. You're having a normal human response to abnormal circumstances, and your feelings are valid even if older people don't understand them. Anxiety in our generation often looks different than textbook descriptions. because it's mixed with existential dread about the future, financial stress, and social media-induced comparison. Your anxiety might show up as constant worry about money, paralysis when making decisions about your future, panic attacks triggered by news cycles, difficulty sleeping because your brain won't stop racing, or physical symptoms like chest tightness and stomach problems that doctors can't find a medical cause for. Depression for Gen Z isn't just sadness, it's often numbness, feeling like you're going through the motions of life without actually living, losing interest in things you used to care about, feeling hopeless about your future prospects, or struggling with motivation, even for basic tasks like showering or eating regular meals. Dr. Lisa D'Amour explains that Gen Z depression is often accompanied by anger and frustration, because we can see the problems in the world clearly, but feel powerless to change them. We're also dealing with purpose anxiety, the pressure to find your passion, build a personal brand, and create meaning in a world that often feels meaningless. Burnout isn't just being tired after a long day. It's a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress that fundamentally changes how you function in the world. For Gen Z, burnout often develops from trying to keep up with hustle culture while dealing with economic anxiety and social pressure to constantly optimize yourself. You might be experiencing burnout if you feel exhausted even after sleeping, find it hard to care about things that used to matter to you, feel cynical or detached from work or school, have physical symptoms like headaches or muscle tension, feel overwhelmed by basic tasks, or notice that you're more irritable or emotional than usual. Gen Z burnout is unique because it's often mixed with achievement anxiety, the fear that no matter how hard you work, it won't be enough to achieve basic life milestones like financial stability or home ownership. We've been told that if we just work hard enough, go to college, and follow the rules, we'll be successful, but many of us are discovering that the system is rigged and the goalposts keep moving. This creates a specific type of burnout where you're exhausted from trying, but also afraid to stop trying, because rest feels like giving up on your future. Social media makes burnout worse by constantly showing us people who seem to be effortlessly succeeding while we're struggling, creating additional pressure to hustle harder instead of addressing the root causes of our exhaustion. Let's get real about what actually helps with Gen Z mental health struggles, because most advice out there was written for people who had different economic and social realities than we do. First, validate your experience instead of minimizing it. When you catch yourself thinking other people have it worse or I should be grateful, remind yourself that your struggles are real, and comparing suffering doesn't help anyone heal. Create micro routines that ground you when everything feels chaotic. This might be making your bed every morning, drinking a full glass of water when you wake up, or spending 5 minutes outside without your phone. These small, consistent actions give you a sense of control when bigger things feel overwhelming. Practice good enough thinking instead of perfectionism. In a world that constantly demands optimization, sometimes doing 70% is actually a win, and recognizing that helps reduce the pressure that contributes to anxiety and depression. Set boundaries with social media that protect your mental health. This might mean unfollowing accounts that make you feel worse about yourself, using app timers to limit mindless scrolling, or having phone-free periods during your day. Learn to distinguish between productive worry and anxiety spirals. Productive worry leads to action, while anxiety spirals just make you feel worse without solving anything. When you notice you're spiraling, try the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. One of the biggest challenges for Gen Z mental health is combating loneliness in a hyper-connected world, and building real relationships requires intentional effort in ways that might feel awkward at first. Quality over quantity applies to friendships. Having 2 people you can really talk to is better than having 200 social media followers who don't actually know you. Look for friends who are comfortable with vulnerability and can handle real conversations about struggles without immediately trying to fix you or minimize your feelings. Practice sharing authentically by starting small. Instead of always saying, "I'm fine," try saying, "I'm having a rough day," or "I'm feeling anxious about something," and see how people respond. Join communities based on shared interests or values rather than just convenience. This might be online communities for your hobbies, local volunteer groups, or classes where you can meet people with similar goals. Set boundaries with people who consistently make you feel worse about yourself, even if they're family members or longtime friends. Your mental health is more important than maintaining relationships that drain your energy. Learn to ask for help specifically rather than hoping people will notice you're struggling. Instead of posting vague social media statuses, reach out directly to people you trust and tell them what kind of support you need. Let's address the elephant in the room. Mental health care in America is expensive and often inaccessible, especially for young people who are underemployed or don't have good insurance. Many colleges offer free counseling services for students, and some extend these services to recent graduates. Even if you're not currently enrolled, it's worth asking about sliding scale options. Community mental health centers are required to provide services regardless of ability to pay. And while there might be waiting lists, they offer legitimate therapy at reduced costs. Crisis text lines like Crisis Text Line, text HOME to 7-41741, provide free 24/7 support from trained counselors when you're in immediate distress. Apps like Youper, Sandvello, and Mindshift offer evidence-based tools for anxiety and depression management, and many have free versions that provide real value. Online therapy platforms like BetterHelp and Cerebral often have financial assistance programs, and some offer reduced rates for students or people with limited income. Many therapists offer sliding scale fees, even if they don't advertise it. It's worth calling offices and asking about reduced rate options. Support groups, both in person and online, can provide community and coping strategies at no cost. Organizations like NAMI offer free support groups in most cities. Remember that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness, and you deserve support regardless of your financial situation. Social media is often both the cause of and attempted solution to Gen Z mental health struggles, so learning to use it mindfully is crucial for your well-being. Start by doing a social media audit. Unfollow accounts that consistently make you feel worse about yourself, even if they belong to people you know in real life. Your mental health is more important than politeness. Follow accounts that provide genuine value. This might be mental health educators, artists whose work inspires you, or creators who share authentic experiences rather than just highlight reels. Use app timers and notification settings to control when and how much you engage with social media rather than letting it control you. Practice conscious scrolling. Before opening an app, ask yourself what you're hoping to get from it and set a time limit. Create phone-free zones in your life, like the first hour after waking up or the last hour before bed, to give your brain breaks from constant stimulation. Learn to recognize when social media is making your anxiety or depression worse and develop alternative activities for those moments. This might be calling a friend, going for a walk, or doing something creative with your hands. Be intentional about what you share online. Posting authentically about struggles can help you connect with others going through similar experiences, but be careful not to rely on social media validation for self-worth. One of the unique challenges facing Gen Z is finding purpose and meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and hopeless. But meaning making is crucial for mental health and resilience. Start by identifying your values rather than trying to find your passion. Values are more stable than interests and can guide decisions even when you don't know exactly what you want to do with your life. This might involve asking yourself what kind of impact you want to have. What injustices make you angry? Or what activities make you feel most like yourself? Engage in activities that feel meaningful to you, even in small ways. This might be volunteering for causes you care about, creating art that expresses your experiences, mentoring younger people, or participating in community organizing. Remember that purpose doesn't have to be your career. You can find meaning through relationships, creative pursuits, activism, or community involvement, even if your day job is just paying the bills. Practice micro-activism by taking small actions aligned with your values. This might be supporting local businesses, participating in mutual aid, or using your voice on issues that matter to you. Focus on what you can control rather than feeling overwhelmed by global problems. You can't fix climate change single-handedly, but you can make choices that align with your environmental values. Look, I'm not going to tell you that everything happens for a reason or that these struggles are just building character, because that's toxic positivity bullshit that minimizes what you're actually going through. The truth is that being Gen Z in America right now is genuinely hard in ways that previous generations don't fully understand, and your mental health struggles are a normal response to abnormal circumstances. But here's what I also know. You're more resilient than you think. You're not alone in this, and there are strategies and resources that can genuinely help you feel better and build a life that feels meaningful to you. The coping strategies, connection building techniques, and resources I've shared today have helped thousands of people in our generation navigate anxiety, depression, and burnout while still working toward their goals and maintaining hope for the future. If this video helped you feel less alone or gave you some tools to try, make sure to subscribe to Jen now and hit that notification bell. Next week, I'm talking about navigating career anxiety and building financial stability as Gen Z without sacrificing your mental health. Drop a comment below and let me know what your biggest mental health challenge is right now, or share what strategies have actually helped you. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Remember that seeking help is brave, taking care of yourself is necessary, and you're worthy of support and happiness even when it doesn't feel like it. You've got this even when it doesn't feel like it.